Welcome to the Dental Marketing Guy Show. I'm Justin, the Dental Marketing Guy, and today I am joined by a very well-renowned guest. He in the world of internet marketing for dentists, in the world of marketing for dentists. Let me tell you, Dr. Dan Bobrow. He is the founding executive committee chair, if I can talk, and treasurer of the American Academy for Oral Systemic Health, and he's also the president of AIM Dental Marketing, serving clients throughout North America. And he's this is really interesting. He's the executive director of Climb for a Cause and the Smile Tree. We're going to talk a little bit about those organizations, nonprofit organizations. And he is, let me tell you, there's practice perfection. This is a big one that I want to talk about, basically getting into how you help dentists with that, Dr. Bobrow. The resume is, I could sit here and go for about 20 minutes of all the things you've done in the world of dentistry. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the boiled down version. Basically, Mr. Bobrow he's also this is interesting, a certified mediator and arbitrator, and has worked pro bono for several agencies, including the Better Business Bureau, Youth Justice Institute, and institutions like that. Dr. Bobrow, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, and thanks for not going on because it's a little early to put people to sleep, I think. To clarify one point, I'm not a doctor. I'm in the space for 27 years last month. I do come from a family of doctors. Given my visual acuity, or rather lack thereof, I'm probably performing a community service by not approaching anyone with lasers or drills or anything of that sort.
Yeah, thanks for correcting me. I mean, you've done so much in the business world to help dentists. I was hoping we could maybe just kind of go over your background in dentistry and what caused you to choose dentistry as your focus.
I'd be happy to, Justin. I just touched upon it. Usually I can thank my brother, Michael Bobrow, practicing dentist in Glencoe, Illinois, for introducing me to this vertical. I had been in the healthcare space, fitness industry, and other allied fields as a direct marketing consultant. And then in early 1989, he suggested that perhaps we focus on this profession, that the practice of the 90s and beyond would bear little resemblance in terms of the required skill set to succeed that the practice of, for instance, our father, who began practicing in the 40s, had. And that was really the birth of this. We started in 1989, doing really all we knew how to do at that time, which was broker lists of new residents, with the idea, which is still valid, that people moving into an area would be more than average open to, if they moved a sufficient distance, to affiliating with a new dental practice. So we did that, and we did that quite successfully, but we soon learned that the best you could hope from a new patient acquisition program, a new resident program, was really to stem attrition. That is, to replace people moving out of your practice or your community with people moving in. And consequently, or subsequently, we expanded into marketing to demographically selected segments of the current resident population. And then around 1999, with the advent of the internet, or at least the availability of internet to commercial interests, we got involved heavily and remain heavily involved with web-based marketing. Along the path, we're always interested in finding solutions to problems. We soon learned that getting the phone to ring, while essential to practice success, was far from sufficient. Also needed was a set of skill sets to help the team, as we like to say, master the art of first impressions. That is, to acquire the skills to connect with first-time telephone callers who didn't know you, trust you, or maybe like you, or like dentistry in general. From that, we created another one of our, what we call, pillars of support, that is the art of first impressions. Along the way, we realized, too, that patients were served well and best when their healthcare providers collaborated in their care. We also knew that there was research coming along that's only accelerating now about the I think, incontrovertible links between oral and overall health. And from that, as you mentioned, I and some colleagues, good friends, helped found the American Academy for Oral Systemic Health. And we've been very excited about that. That helps to educate the lay public and health professionals as well about these links and how to actually adopt and practice an oral systemic practice model. And just going down the list real quickly, as you mentioned, I'm very passionate about cause event marketing or cross-sector partnerships, where through support of a socially responsible cause, you are in essence able to do well by doing good, growing your practice as an unavoidable consequence of your commitment to helping a worthwhile cause. We also offer what I call my lead by example model, where as a certified personal trainer and health coach, we can help teams that are interested to lead by example by, first of all, adopting a fitness and nutritional model for themselves, and then sharing that and walking the walk, sharing that success with their patients who are interested in it.
And we're going to talk a little bit about some of your work with AIM Dental Marketing. We've got a couple case studies. We're going to talk about some pay-per-click in Chicago, and then some other work in Michigan. But I'm really interested in this nonprofit work. Could you tell us a little bit more about, there's something to do with climbing to the top of Mount Everest or something like that. Maybe could you tell us a little bit more about the nonprofit work that you do?
Climbing the Mount Everest is, I will clarify, is distinctly not a part of Climb for a Cause directly. We're not looking for people to do that. And sometimes the term is a bit of a misnomer, not always. We're actually going to be in October hiking our 19th consecutive peak, 19th annual Climb for a Cause event. That will be an ascent and descent of Mount Charleston, which many people are surprised to learn is a nearly 12,000 foot peak, which is roughly an hour northwest of the Strip in Las Vegas. We began in 1998 with the climb of Mount Whitney, which was a 3-day event. And depending on which route you took, because we did 3 routes in 1 week, or I did, we had different teams, of course, for each group, had varying degrees of technicality. In 1999, we did an ascent of Mount Rainier, which is by any definition a technical route. Over the past several years, at least 10 years, we have moved to a 1-day hike format where, to be sure, these are arduous hikes, but that's what they are. There's no ropes, there's no technical element really, but you need to be committed to getting to the top and in shape and passionate about the cause, which is oral health education and treatment, both domestically as well as around the world. We're currently, as of to date, we have supported, funded, staffed, supplied 70 distinct projects around the world. We have delivered first-time treatment to 50,000 plus children with equivalent care delivered of in excess of $10 million. And that's what really motivates us. In addition, I will just say, since it did occur to us a while ago that not everybody likes to hike mountains or climb mountains, that people are interested in doing well by doing good, the practices can also become a, quote, branch office of our Smile Tree, and the support garnered goes to the same place, the oral health education and treatment. But the model's a little different. Under the branch office model, a practice simply commits to supporting one or more of our projects, in exchange for which they receive specific communication from their adopted country or project. And we send them posters and in-office display materials. We can set up an event management page for them at no cost. This is all no cost, by the way. We derive no compensation whatever from any of this. It's just our way of giving back. Although I will say that my company's probably benefited a little bit. I guess an example is that if I didn't do this, you wouldn't be asking me about it right now. And it's similar with our practices. They will benefit if they commit to not keeping their good works a secret. And the reason we encourage them to do that is, yes, it will help grow the practice, And a bigger yes, it will also help do more good for their chosen charity by committing to not keeping their good works a secret from the public.
That's great. Hold on, we get. I'll edit this. Test.
We're breaking up a little bit. That was in my end.
Yeah, it's okay. Cool. We're good now, I think. Can you hear me good?
Yep.
Okay. And I'm going to make a note to edit this out. I lost my spot here. Here we go.
We're talking about applying for a cause.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's really cool. So could you tell me a little bit, let's bring it back more to the business side. Obviously nonprofit is linked in there. That's a really, really good point, because I've seen dentists who do nonprofit work in their neighborhood, or doing something like what you're offering, and it really does come around. What goes around comes around. But as far as, like say, I think you've got a case study of pay-per-click management in Chicago that you could tell us a little bit about. Just trying to get a feel for your services, and maybe just a story or two about things that have happened and how our listeners can benefit from things like pay-per-click management.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Just to round out the discussion about cause marketing, it's all about leverage. We're not preaching or suggesting that dentists aren't already generous. They are. What we want to do is help them understand how they can leverage that to do more good for their chosen charity, as well as to help grow their practice. And the key is to having an event and just building a list and communicating with people. It's one of the best ways not only to attract new patients, because now you're giving them a reason to talk about your practice. It's not really a digression, but people misunderstand word of mouth quite frequently. People think that the conversation of my dentist will come up in normal conversation. For instance, Justin, did I bother to tell you about my dentist? He's great, and if you need a dentist, you should visit him or her. More likely it's, hey, Justin, my tooth is killing me. Is your dentist any good? So it's that direction of flow. This is an exception to that, where my crazy dentist is climbing a mountain, or my dentist is supporting a charity and he's having a party. We were going to go out Saturday night anyway. Why don't we go and see what's going on here? It's a good cause. We're going to have fun. We're going to have food, music, entertainment, goodie bag prizes, et cetera, et cetera. And I often say that doctors are more afraid of having a party than they are climbing a mountain, because I think there's that implicit fear. What if we have a party and nobody shows up?
Wow.
It's understandable, but we've never had that happen. I just wanted to round it out, because this is a really great way to cement relationships with current patients, to grow your practice base, your patient base. It's also a wonderful way to build esprit de corps and camaraderie. Study after study shows, especially among millennials, that when you commit to a socially responsible cause, given a choice, somebody would prefer to have a dentist or a dry cleaner or a restaurant that has demonstrated that commitment than another organization that hasn't. And people take a real sense of pride in working and affiliating with an organization that demonstrates that responsibility.
Absolutely. Yeah. You really rounded that out really well. I think that's something that sometimes dentists don't really talk a lot about it. Like you said, dentists are very generous as a whole. I know all my clients that I can possibly think of have done on a yearly basis some sort of charity work, however small. But as far as telling people about it, as far as getting some buzz around it, almost none of them really get the mileage out of it, because they're just doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They're just doing it just to do it. But, as a marketing guy, that's an opportunity to get people to talk about you when you're not around. So that's
right. And it's really something that we often deal with, which is this understandable, but I think misguided discomfort with tooting your own horn. This has got to be done properly. It's got to be done for the right reason, which is, again, primarily the cause. The benefit that will inure to your practice is an unavoidable consequence of that support. It's got to be done properly. I just feel bad when a dentist spends an entire day giving away free dental care and they get nothing out of it. The other way to look at it is, the more successful you are, the more generous you can be. That's what we're talking about. A rising tide, raising all boats.
Right, right, absolutely, absolutely. So, Dennis, have you helped become successful? Let's talk about this pay-per-click in Chicago's case study.
Okay. Well, I think I shared with you an example of a client. We'd worked off and on with this client for maybe 20 years. And I'm all about trying to find the weak link. And that's why we've expanded to have all these different pillars of support. We began 20 years ago doing direct mail. It was before we knew internet. We got a decent response, and yet he wasn't growing. And what we learned, because we're largely about tracking, was that listening to the conversations demonstrated very clearly to us that the team did not have the skills to connect with telephone callers. It wasn't that they weren't caring professionals. They were caring professionals, but they didn't have the communication skills to convey that caring over the telephone, which was the first impression. Often people don't realize that they're meeting people, even if we're meeting them on the phone. And working with them, as well as a practice in Central Michigan, had the same situation, although for them, we were doing internet marketing. Again, getting the phone to ring was not an issue. We were getting the phone to ring, but we've got to convert those callers into solid patient appointments. I'm at a point now where before I'll even take a client, I will have this conversation with them, which is that the average practice is converting 30 to 50% of telephone calls from prospective patients into appointments. We know from our work that a master telephone communicator will convert upwards of 90% of such calls. If you do the math, let's say you're at 30%. That means that without investing a single extra dollar in marketing, you can triple the number of new patients that you are generating. And that's why we believe that getting your house in order is definitely indicated in this instance. In terms of the pay-per-click case study I shared with you, we had a client we were doing internet marketing for, and it was going all right. But this doctor was very ambitious and quite demanding. And I told my director of web services, I said, this gentleman's demanding, but we're going to learn in the process because he's very compliant and responsive. And, you know, we need that. We need to understand what's happening on the ground. Even though this client was only 45 miles away from me, actually just opened another practice downtown. But what we started to do, really got involved in pay-per-click, which for your viewers who may not know what that is, although I probably do, is it's sort of an auction. You bid to be ranked high for certain terms on Google's results pages. But getting ranked is only the beginning of the story. It's having the right verbiage, the right ad appear so that people are motivated to click on that link. And then it's a matter of sending them to the right landing page. If you've done the ad campaign correctly, you're running ads for not just dentists in Chicago, for instance, but implant services, implant placement, sedation, whitening, Invisalign, various different campaigns. If your campaign sends them to the practice's homepage and now they have to hunt and search for the information they're seeking, you're going to have a lot of leakage. You're going to lose those people. And that's why we make sure that those ads go to the proper landing page and that we test different offers and different verbiage combinations. And based on the feedback we get, we know what's working. And by working, we mean leading to a conversion, which again, for those who don't know what that means, it's a phone call that the office receives, or it's a web form that someone completes requesting more information. And through our analysis of that, in a matter of 4 months, I don't actually have the exact numbers, but it was on the order of doubling or tripling the number of new patients that this practice was generating. And in the process, we learned a great deal about how to optimize their website. Because Google AdWords is a wonderful, as you know, Justin, a wonderful way to learn about what's motivating people in that particular market to make an appointment. Then you take that knowledge and then you know what keywords to optimize your website for.
I've got some echo again here. This is going to be a heavily edited episode. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So maybe you could talk to us a little bit about, as we come to a close on our time, some quick tips, some takeaway tips, something actionable, something kind of easy to get as far as, you know, the marketing side of dentistry. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about some takeaway tips.
Sure. First thing that I like to recommend, and this is all about the weak link analogy, but we like to evaluate the extent to which your practice takes AIM, your practice website. And in this context, as you might expect, we use AIM around here a lot. But in this context, AIM stands for the ability of the website, or the proficiency with which the website attracts, impresses, and motivates website visitors. Attracting is all about getting your website in front of people. And there's two general ways to do that. One is through conventional marketing, traditional marketing, having your website address on a business card and handing it to somebody. The other way, which is where there's an ever-increasing amount of action, is online, web-based marketing. And that's where we would employ the search engine optimization tactic, paid search, social media optimization, review generation, patient testimonial videos, other things to get you ranked for people that are searching for a dentist in your area, but who just don't happen to know you by name. Once we've attracted them to your site, they need to be favorably impressed with the look and feel, or as we call the aesthetics and function of the site. And that continues to, or an increasingly large portion of that criterion is the fact that more and more people are surfing the internet from a handheld device. We passed a milestone in 2013 when the majority of people surfing the internet were doing so from a handheld device. That has implications for the user experience. For them to be favorably impressed, it means that your site needs to optimally render for viewing by the device that person happens to be using to view your website. They need to be impressed with the aesthetics, the look, but also the feel, the function. Is it easy to navigate? Does it have prominent click-to-call, click-to-map features, etc.? And then I think the area where most websites, and if it makes you feel any better, not just websites in the dental space, fall short, it's on motivating the website visitor, motivating them to take a desired form of action. This, in turn, requires an understanding of the psychology of the web visitor. You got your trigger pullers and you got your tire kickers. Most websites are set up to really only communicate with the trigger pullers, the highly motivated visitor who's ready to pick up the phone and call your practice today, or to fill out a form saying schedule an appointment. But the majority of first-time website visitors don't fall into that heading, under that heading. They're gathering information. They're kicking the tires.
Right.
It's how to be set up to do that. I know we're running out of time, but there's a lot of detail behind that, which has to do with running the race of the website visitors.
Yeah, no, it's great information. I mean, you've hit on a really important point, and that is that, I mean, it's interesting how when a dental website builder, when he builds a website, it's designed for, like you said, the trigger pullers, but how many of us really are trigger pullers when it comes to dentistry? If you take yourself out of the role of someone who's in the field and you say, well, what do most people, what's their state of mind when they're doing Dentist My City? When they do that Google search and they click on that top result, what are they really going to call you right away? Maybe a percentage of them will. However, I think you're right. Most of them are not ready to just pull the trigger right now. They're still vetting things. They're still feeling it out. And so the content on the website, and like you said, the functionality and the aesthetics and the feel, that's all really, really important. So I think you really touched on a really important point, and that is, you know, how do you earn someone's trust through the website? You can't just assume they're going to, know, like, and trust you within 30 seconds of seeing your website, right? But that's the mindset.
I would even submit that those that are more deliberate in their decision making will end up being better patients because they understood what they were getting into. And consider a parent that's considering a dentist for their children. They're going to be really deliberate. They're going to vet this practice, which has all to do with making sure that you've got 5-star reviews on really all the review sites, not just those that are responsible for gaining SEO. rankings, and getting patient testimonial videos so that you can deliver the social proof once people are on your website to help make their decision that much simpler. I got a bunch of other suggestions. I don't know if we have time to go through them.
Well, why don't we do one more? Because we're coming to a close on the time, but that's
Sure.
really important. I'm always talking testimonial videos because you can actually gauge the veracity of what's being said. Like, do not, and to our listeners, please do not put the Justin M. quote, "This is the best dentist I've ever had. Oh my goodness, he's so amazing." Just the text with no picture, nothing. That is, everyone knows that's not credible. But the videos are amazing. So yeah, maybe one more quick tip.
Sure. And I like the idea about also transcribing the video so that people can read along if they wish, but it ought to have a video at a minimum. I would urge every dental practitioner to learn more about or continue to enhance the level of care, the collaboration, as we call in general terms, the oral systemic practice model. Because as I mentioned, the links between oral and overall health are just incontrovertible. The weight of evidence is just massive. And being an oral systemic practice, I've often said when we founded AOSH, the American Academy for Oral Systemic Health, I'm not looking to create a bunch of McDonald's, identical franchised type oral systemic practices. That means different things to different people, whether it's embracing dental sleep medicine, expanding your sedation offering complete dentistry under one roof, really enhancing your hygiene. But the point is that with very few exceptions, the dentist is the health professional that people see more often. What a wonderful opportunity to diagnose, to anticipate and help prevent and steer people in a direction of not only optimal oral health, but overall health and extended life. I just think, talk about doing well by doing good. This is a quintessential opportunity for dentists to really make a huge difference in the lives of their patients and to feel that much better about themselves for the contribution that they're making to humanity.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about it. You have a special offer. Go ahead and tell the viewers about that.
Well, the special offer that we agreed to make is that we will do an analysis of internet marketing performance, AMP service. That is typically $395. It does take 2 weeks for us to deliver our findings in a one-on-one meeting, which, depending on the location of the practice, is typically done via GoToMeeting. And the $395 gets you a complete analysis of the ability of your web presence, not just your website, but your directory listings, citations, review sites, etc., to take aim. That is to attract, impress, and motivate. You get a complete website report card, which shows you how your website is scoring, both in terms of how it's perceived by the search engines, which are the all-important gatekeepers between you and the people searching for a dentist in your area, as well as people who are on your website. And the offer that I agreed to make, some arm twisting, is that we'll do this complimentary as long as the practice owner is the one to whom we will deliver the results. Very frankly, this takes a lot of time and effort. We have to order a number of different analyses. We can also include a geodemographic assessment, which will unearth opportunities for more traditional marketing like direct mail in your specific community. It takes us several hours and some money that we have to invest to order these reports. And so we consider it a fair exchange if the doctor demonstrates his or her commitment to the process by agreeing to spend an hour with us to present our findings and recommendations.
That's great. That's excellent. And let me tell you guys, this is really, really important to have a strategy, to know what you're getting into. I don't know. I beat this drum a lot, Mr. Bobrow, is know what you're getting into. Know what SEO is. It's not something that you go to the store and pick up and buy. I'm going to buy milk, eggs, and SEO. It's something that you've got to know what's going on in your community, what are the competitive metrics, and so that kind of analysis is really important. So I greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And I'm glad you mentioned it. We view SEO as a commodity at our peril. It's not, as you said, like buying a can of Coke. And there's not a day that goes by where I'm not inundated with offers to achieve page 1 ranking. Well, I'm already page 1 ranking for the terms that I want to rank for, which just goes to show that people are dialing for dollars or emailing for dollars. They haven't even looked at your stuff. They don't really know anything. They're just hoping that, maybe you're motivated by price or you're not aware of what's involved in it. And so we're not the cheapest. We never will be. And I appreciate you again for pointing out that there's quality. You'll get what you pay for with SEO work.
And I wish you'd stop ignoring my emails to you. I swear I can get you page 1 rankings. I know
you can, because I already got them. You mean you can not screw things up to keep me from being on page 1? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So the viewers, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. aimdentalmarketing.com. And yeah, that's if you see this on the dental marketing blog, dental marketing guy blog, feel free to reach out and say, look, I'd like to have that analysis done. I'd like to find out more about, before you go and pick up that cold caller's offer, maybe you should know a little bit more about what you're getting into and what you really need to get new patients. And Mr. Bobrow, I appreciate your holistic approach with that. You mentioned direct mail, SEO, things like that. And I think that's important, to not be too romanticized with what you might be good at, but really just doing what's good for the dental practice ultimately to gain you.
And it's all a la carte. I mean, these are pillars of support we offer. We don't recommend them all for every practice. We let people pick and choose. And, that's an important distinction, too. We've been around 27 years. We work on an exclusive basis by area. Oh, the thing I wanted to say, I forgot for a minute. Yeah. Make sure this isn't something I bandy about, this free offer. If anybody wants that, they're going to need to reference this hangout that Justin's hangout, and Mr. Bobrow offered that for us.
Excellent. All right, guys. So make sure you mention it. Otherwise, $395 free offer. So, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out in the comments below. If you see this in the Dental Marketing Guy blog, if you see it on Dental Town, wherever you happen to see it. And thank you for watching the Dental Marketing Guy show.